What's going on, everyone? My name is Raekwon, and I'm going to be reviewing Dreamcon 2025, plus doing a quick merch haul, basically of everything I got from Dreamcon. So here we go. We're going to get right into it. Don't want to waste nobody's time. Quick backstory about myself. This is my first Dreamcon. My friends have gone in the past, so we finally got to link up together. I did go with my one friend. We did drive there, which was a good experience. Obviously, we would love to have flown, but we'll probably do that next time. We went as premium badges, so I said for my first one, we got to go big or go home. Premium badges was the way to go. Had its pros and its cons, but we'll get to that within the interview itself. We ended up staying in Houston at the Whitehall Hotel, which is probably about 9 minutes from the actual convention center. But overall, the experience was fire. So again, we're gonna go over kind of my thoughts, pros and cons of the whole event, and then we're gonna show off the merch and kind of get everything squared away. This is my first YouTube video, so obviously bear with me, right? It ain't gonna be perfect quality. I may not even have background sounds in it. Just want to get the video out and start from humble beginnings realistically. All right. So get into the W's or the pros of DreamCon 2025. Overall, the production quality was amazing, right? Like everything from the logos to the artwork to the setup to the convention center itself, it was amazing. All right. I mean, like the quality of it, it wasn't anything cheap. So you know that they put their work and their effort into it. You know that DreamCon has come a long way. So I imagine how it looked back in the day, when they first started. But like I said, the main stages, the LED screens, all that stuff was good. So that's definitely a big W there. Then speaking of the next W, which was the convention center itself. So it was at the George R. Brown Convention Center in Houston. Um, Phenomenal facility, had enough space to kind of comfortably fit everybody there. And I looked it up. The George R. Brown Convention Center is one of the top 10 convention centers in the U.S. So, W location, especially for an event of this size. I heard it was somewhere around 30,000 people that attended DreamCon this year. I don't know if that's true. Somebody let me know if it's true or not. But if that's the case, that is a wild number. And it didn't really feel like 30,000 because like how everything was so spread out and all the stuff that was either off site or on site. It didn't feel like 30,000. So, but overall, pretty good experience there at that convention center. Next thing is the community. I mean, like everybody was there. Every race, ethnicity, every social group was kind of in that area, and I think that overall everybody was very supportive of each other. Right, whether you had top tier cosplay or you had budget friendly cosplay, everybody was hyping each other up, flicking up pictures, networking, the whole 9 yards. And then I'll talk about it later, but they do have the DreamCon 2025 app. The app is fire. You have the interact page on there where everybody's able to kind of link up, share information. I at least once, asked for somebody to do my retwist. So if you met me at DreamCon, my name is Raekwon again. Like if you met me at DreamCon, I didn't have a retwist because my hairstylist, she went on vacation right before DreamCon, so I was kind of screwed. But I made it happen. But finally got the retwist. So shout out to her. I'll leave her information in the description. But yeah, overall the community there was fire. So I do appreciate everybody for uh, helping me out, make my first time experience it and networking with everybody. So you'll probably see us link up with some folks from DreamCon 2025. Next up, the premium badge experience. Okay, I'm gonna talk about the pros of this, and later we'll talk about some opportunities that they can have with the premium badge experience. So the premium badge experience itself, super good. You got to skip most of the lines at some of the main events, so it's pretty good experience. Also, when you get the premium badge, you got some discounts on some of the merch stores. You also were some of the first people to get access to the charity basketball game, which was, of course, the main event. So we were able to get really good seats from that. Not the best seats, but we were still able to get pretty good seats. One of the most impactful parts of the premium badge was when we we first got to the convention center on the day one. Then we arrived there around like noon ish. We were just walking and wandering around, and then we saw the exhibit hall was like the first thing that opened up. And we're like, okay, dang, that's a long line from the exhibit hall from one end of the convention center to the other end. Which, if you know that, if you've been there this year, you know that it's a long walk. And so we're just kind of sitting there waiting, and then one of the staff folks there said, "All right, premium badge members come through first." And me and my friend looked at each other. We just went through droves of people who were just like looking at us like we were crazy, but it was a pretty good experience. We got in there early. We were able to get some of the cooler merch that may have sold out if everybody was able to walk through there. And yeah, so it was pretty cool experience there. Also with the premium badge membership, we also were able to, when we got to pick up our badges in the hotel, we had a way shorter line. So it did take us a little bit to get in there because they didn't have the premium badge line set up from the start of the line. So we had to kind of go to a few lines and then go into the main room where we picked up our badges. And then when we got to the main room, we noticed that the premium badge line was empty. So we're like, why don't you just make a premium badge line from the get go? But again, here we're talking about the pros here, but premium badge experience overall was pretty solid. You know, you got a few perks. You got the premium lounges as well, where you got free drinks. You got to relax, link up with other premium badge members. You, Sometimes you'll see creators come into the premium lounges, so you can kind of network with those guys as well. Next up is the basketball game itself. So the charity basketball game, Team Mark versus Team Duke, and it did not disappoint. It was definitely the main event for the whole event. Production quality was through the roof, right? You obviously had Dreamcon with their production quality, but you also had House of Highlights, doing everything from the announcements to the scoreboards. And you had Under Armour selling the actual official merch, which we'll get into. I got some of the merch all back there. But yeah, the basketball game was a highlight. You know, you had Devontae Freya. He won the MVP. I thought Duke probably could have won it. He had a double double in the first half. Duke was balling. Like, I'm not gonna lie, he was really balling. Cam Wilder for Team Mark's team definitely was the SVP, balling hard. Blackboy Max, all of them, they were all balling really hard. Mark did score, so we're proud of Mark for scoring, but definitely gotta get him more looks, and kind of make sure that he's keeping up with his reputation. But overall, the basketball experience was great. We had really good seats. I think we were 2 rows right behind where all the celebrities were. So we were on. If you see the side that folks like Kai Cenat and them were on, we were 2 rows behind that little huddle of groups. So it was pretty good seats. So overall, great experience. Like I said, it didn't disappoint because these guys actually played good games of basketball. It wasn't just like pick up ball and people were just kind of shooting, missing shots. Like it was intense. So overall, the basketball game was a highlight. Next W for DreamCon 2025 was at the beginning. All the premium badge members got opportunity to sign up for the Mission Impossible premiere at one of the local theaters there in Houston. I forgot the theater name, but if you know it, just let me know. But I never saw Mission Impossible, at least this movie, and I was like, well, might as well do it. It's free, it's whatever. I think everybody there was expecting RDC to kind of show up. They had a whole first row of seats that we thought like all the creators were going to go through. Um, that didn't end up happening. But the movie itself, pretty good movie. It was pretty cool to see it with all the folks from DreamCon. I think everybody felt the same way about that movie. Definitely wasn't the best Mission Impossible movie, but it was definitely had us on our seats. The shit was intense. Whoever did the score for the movie put us on edge all the time. And then if you know that, I'm just gonna say, if you know the submarine scene, if you know the ocean scene, had us on 10, probably 12 the whole time. Like everybody's heart was racing in there. Everybody was getting mad when like something even crazier was happening. So everybody felt the impact of that movie. So overall, that was a good experience. And then at the end, you had Af, Leland, and Desmond all show up to kind of do like a quick intro into DreamCon and thank us for watching the movie, thank us for being there. And we thought nothing of it, but then on our way out, everybody noticed that they were doing a impromptu photo op, so we were all kind of be able to take pictures with those three. Really cool experience there. Only thing I'll say about that was a lot of people were kind of hoeing the situation, right? If you had a group of like 2 to 3, 4, 5 people, everybody was trying to do single pictures with these three guys. And I was like, these guys probably like with all 300 of us, they're gonna be there for a minute, right? So I said, told me and my friend, we both hopped into the same picture. So let's do it one at a time. We said we ain't even gonna hold y'all. We're gonna go ahead and just get this one flick up, and we're out. And Af was like, man, I appreciate that. Appreciate y'all for making it quick. Because there was a couple too. Like they both took individual pictures. I was like, maybe I missed something. I mean, it is what it is. But we got our picture. It was cool. We saved some time, got up out of there, beat the traffic out of the building. But overall, that was a pretty cool experience there. Um, Next up for W's and opportunities was the exhibit hall itself. I'm gonna show you why it was a W because I have all the merch from the exhibit hall all back here. W experience, the creators, the creativity, the setup, the flow of things, basically what you could do in there. The exhibit hall outside of the main attractions, the volleyball, the after parties and all that stuff was fire. All right. It was just a great experience. I got a lot of cool merch, got a lot of unique merch that you've never seen. before, so that was definitely a great experience. Next up was the cosplay. All the cosplay, whether like I said, whether it be the budget friendly cosplay or the top tier, you know, I spent years on this stuff. I dropped the life savings on it. All the cosplay was super fire. All right. I think at one point somebody even brought their own backdrop just to make the aura of their costume even better. So I definitely appreciate that. I wasn't able to dress up this year. I didn't have any cool ideas this year, but I definitely walked out with some ideas that I'll run through, at least try to get to next year, depending on how things go. But cosplay was definitely fire. I already talked about this with the premium badges. We also had the lounges. So you had a few premium lounges where you kind of, if you had that premium badge, you kind of just walk in there, kind of see other folks kind of chilling, hanging out. You might see a creator kind of, walking through, just kind of checking things out, interacting with some of the folks there. But overall, that was pretty cool, just having that little space for us to kind of unwind. Some of them had free drinks, so you can grab a few free drinks. Some of them had some different cool things going on. But overall, great experience there. Next W was the Marvel Rivals tournament. I think I think everybody was low key hyped for that because obviously everybody was dogging RDC, saying they might not win because of their team chemistry. But RDC ended up pulling it out. I think they had Tony added to their team, which I think was supposed to be either Tony or Rage. Rage must have backed out. Tony was a good replacement, so our team RDC actually ended up winning. When they were asking who they thought were going to win, I think half of them was RDC, half of them was Burleezy's team, but RDC ended up bringing it out, of course. So it was good that the hometown folks won it because it was pretty hype. You can see it on their social media how hyped they were. I think overall it was a pretty great experience just even seeing that competition live and seeing how hyped they were. Next up, we got the creators. Just obviously, you have RDC and they have all the list of creators. You had AMP, you got everybody there. Just interacting with them, seeing how some of them were more down to earth than you thought. I think that was W as always. Obviously, they had their security. That's why I went into the whole operation as like, hey, bro, I'm not here to hoe anybody. I'm not here to clout chase. I'm just here to kind of say, hey, what's up, man? Like, what's going on? Like, it was funny because at the exhibit hall on the first day, as soon as me and my friend walked in, we walked in we took maybe 150 steps into the exhibit hall. And from my left side, I'm looking at this dude. I'm like, this dude must be cosplaying as Syriax. And I was like, no way, this can't be Syriax. Like, on my first day, like literally the first event that I went to, I meet up with Syriax. We take a pic. I told him, good job. Keep hoeing rhyme style in the Yu-Gi-Oh duels, all that stuff. But overall, it was cool to see some of the creators kind of be more down to earth. We saw Dave Migos, obviously. We saw a lot of them. But then we saw Burleezy's sister. I'm talking people that we saw like just in passing. We saw Ray the Asian boy there. We like literally every creator was kind of down to earth. Obviously, they had the security. I will talk about some of the stuff that the creators could have been more involved with. Like, so some of them had their own booths. Obviously, they can't be there 24/7, but I think just knowing when they're going to be there could have helped out and made the experience a little bit more better, especially with how big of an event it was. You weren't going to always be guaranteed to see them just kind of floating around. But overall, I think the creators kind of did make it more impactful of an event. Speaking of creators, I got to meet 5 out of the 7 RDC members. So throughout the weekend, we met Av, we met John, we met Leland, we met Desmond, and Mark. So the only person that I didn't get to interact with or meet for this week, which we'll go ahead and knock it out next year, is Dylan and Ben. But overall, fire, 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 fire. The last W that I got is the merch overall. I'm rocking one of the shirts right there. Again, I'm gonna get into the merch. There's a lot of it, so I'm gonna try to wrap up this review real quick so we can get through all that merch and kind of go through all of that pretty soon. But the merch overall was fire. Cannot think enough about like some of the stuff I'll probably rock out. Some of the stuff I'll probably keep at collectibles and all that stuff. But yeah, overall, the merch was just super fire, super top tier. So now we got to go with the opportunities, right? So I'm going to overall give a rating of 9.5 out of 10. Obviously, there's some room for growth, especially with an event this big, right? Everything should be looking to grow and aim to strive better to be a better quality. So some of the cons or some of the opportunities for Dreamcon 2025. First was the logistics and the flow of things, right? It looks like it was just too big of an event. And sometimes like it seems like common sense wasn't common sensing, right? So I'll start from the very first thing, right? We had to go pick up our access badges, right? Our premium badges. we're all in the Marriott Hotel right across from the convention center. We're all just kind of waiting in this stupidly long line, which is fair enough, right? We knew that there was gonna be a lot of people there. That's what we were expecting. Okay, waiting this long line, we'll do it, right? Nothing crazy about that. Then when we, like I said, we go in, we this line, we wrap around the whole building. We kind of go around this whole like little elevator escalator area, wrap around that, and then they put us in a separate like set of like maybe like 20 individual lines before we go into this convention center room that's in a hotel. And so once we get through those 20 lines, they let us in, and then we notice that inside of this room there was a whole set of premium badge lines, and we're like, oh, like why don't you just have a separate section for just premium badge folks to go through? Would have been in and out, no worries, right? Because we had to wait through all of this other lines just to go into there, and the lines there's like maybe 5 booths for premium badges, and there's 5 or 6 booths for the regular weekend badges, and we're like, oh, y'all could have saved so much time with just letting us slide through. Obviously, it would be better for us too if we could just get through and get out. But that was just one of the things there. And then like the security check in some of the days, it was kind of tough to get in because, and granted, they want to be safe and check every bag, but eventually the next day they ended up just saying, hey, just walk through the metal detectors. If you don't beep, just go. But if you do beep, then you'll have to open up your bag. Which again, they learned on the second day a few things, but some of the stuff just wasn't making sense. And then going along with logistics and flow was the timing and the schedule of things. I kid you not. I think if an event was supposed to start at 5 o'clock, it was gonna start at 5:30. If an event was gonna start at 12, it was gonna start at 12:30. It was like always 30 minutes behind, or just being late for. There was no real reason for them to be late on certain things, right? I know they were late for one thing. I believe the flowers or the dodgeball tournament, or sorry, the volleyball tournament. One of those events that they were late for is because RDC was in the Marvel Rivals tournament, and that went longer than it should have, right? Because they were playing a few games. You didn't know if they were going to win or not, so that went longer than it should have been. But other than that, I think literally everything, even including the basketball game, they were late for, which is fine. But if you want to see as much as you want to do as much as you want at DreamCon, timing is everything, right? Since there's so much to do, and I don't think there's any way for you to do everything unless you literally pop in and pop out of something. Like if you don't stay for the whole dodgeball tournament or the whole volleyball tournament, like then you can probably pop out and go do some other stuff. But overall, still not too bad of an issue there. Next up for the opportunities, the after parties. Being that you have to pay for the after parties, and there's an extra whole process there. I did think that they needed a little bit more of a bump from the creators and obviously everything like that. The music was pretty solid, no issues there. The overall venue was pretty solid. It was a pretty big space, so you weren't gonna feel cramped or anything like that. Music was good. Like I said, they were hyping it up. They did eventually play like the same like playlist at some point, so it was getting a little bit stale. But overall, I think the after parties needed just a little more love. We only person we saw there was John, who came through, and we think he was just checking on the after party. And then I believe the second night, the Saturday night after party, I saw some of the RDC folks at a whole different after party, so they didn't even like care about their own after party to even like show up or interact with that. They were at a whole different one, which again I don't know if that was the plan or not, but again, a lot of us paid who went to DreamCon paid specifically for this after party. We still had a good time, but just thinking about like the overall experience of it wasn't really worth paying the extra money on that. Going to the cons of the premium experience, yeah, the skipping certain lines and getting somewhat good seats were pretty good, but they're just sometimes it just didn't feel like enough. Just didn't feel like okay, like we paid this extra absorbent amount of money, and then like we're still kind of like not sure what's going on. It wasn't like like I said, I would say it was like 75% worth it. The other 25% was really having like those dedicated lines and like entry, and then also I know some of the vendors at the exhibit hall gave us premium member discounts on some things. I think that would probably go a long way. I got some other ideas to make the premium experience better, but I'll save those and kind of share those with the DreamCon team as a whole later on. Next up for the opportunities, the All Star volleyball game and the basketball game for sports, pretty solid, no issues there. But the dodgeball game itself, it was a little bit lackluster. I don't think there was enough attention put into it. There was nobody involved with it directly from RDC. At least I was on the court, and then like I think before I walked out of it, there was people from either side of the gymnasium just kind of walking out. I think they just basically said, "Oh well, who like it's not like I don't want to like downplay the folks that were in it because there were some big creators in it, but it was just kind of like, okay, where's RDC? We might as well go ahead and grab our after party badge and start getting ready to go to the basketball game." I think that's what ended up happening for that. So I think it was just a victim of circumstances and what was around it, but I think definitely having a little bit more involvement for from RDC would be very beneficial with that. Speaking of involvement, I think overall for the event, like I said, yes, RDC was around. Yes, some of the other creators were around, but like we thought it would be cool. Like, okay, well, we have the premium badge lounges. We have the event. Just every now and then, just have creators walking in and kind of engaging with some of the folks. Checking in and out. Would have been cool. I think the event though is just too big right now for even 7 members of RDC to maneuver and kind of. There's no way they're going to be able to interact with every single person. But like I said, I think they did their best. But I think just overall the involvement from the streamer, just like I said, there was nobody from the 7 people from RDC. There was nobody involved with dodgeball. Right, only a few folks were involved with volleyball. Like it was just kind of like, okay, those bigger events, you want those guys to kind of show up, and kind of be more available and be more present for the whole thing. The last opportunity, which is something small, which is the RSVP system. I was, as a premium badge member, I was stressing out because I was, again, like I said, timing. Even before the event, they would say, hey, the RSVPs for such and such event is going to drop at 8 o'clock CST time. Right? Obviously, I live on the East Coast, so I'll be 1 hour earlier or behind depending on the situation. But it would always drop 30 minutes afterwards, and by that time, I stopped refreshing my page, and so I'm missing out on the RSVPs, and those things were going quick. And I'm thinking like you have to have the RSVPs, which some of the workshops and some of the creator led stuff you did have to have an RSVP for. But at the end of the day, like it just wasn't clear on what you needed RSVP for because like the All Star volleyball game, you needed RSVP for, but we were still able to slide through with our premium badges and still get good seats. So it's just a little bit weird. Like, and then like also like the RSVP only like it doesn't like you're not walking in with the premium. You still have to wait in the line for the RSVP. So you got better seats than folks who had just the generic badges, but overall, it could have been more clear to what you need the RSVP for and not. So like, because I would not even waste my time if I knew that for some of the things, just having the premium badge would have been solid or suffice. So yeah, I think overall 9.5 out of 10. I knew I have some first timer bias. I think that bumped it up a lot. Like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Obviously, I just wish I could have done more, but that's just because my first time I didn't know really what was going on. So overall, W event. All right, so now it's time to get into the merch haul. Basically, all the drip that we got from Dreamcon. It's my first one. I kind of went crazy on it. Not too crazy, but I don't know the exact total amount I spent on everything. But overall, we did get a lot of actual merch. So over here, I have the drip, which will show, and over here I have the artwork, and I got 2 things you can probably already see back there. Um, that will kind of go through as much as I can. I'll try to promote the artists in real time on the video. If not, I'll try to leave their links either on some of my social media or obviously throughout this description of this video. So we'll kind of go into the actual drip itself. I'll kind of explain why I got some of the stuff. This first one, it doesn't have to do with the actual shirt itself. So this is from Fight Club. All right, just a nice little shirt. Basically, they had a wrestling promotion there with a real life wrestling ring, and some actual performers there. And we were able to do some photo ops in the ring itself. But then they asked us, hey, like they'll teach us how to bump, which bumping in wrestling is, when you like, you get attacked or you fake the injury or anything like that, or you fall down. Basically, selling the actual action is real. So they said they'll teach us how to do it if any one of us bought a shirt. I said, well, let me go get a shirt. I got the cheapest one, but I did think it still looked good. And so there's a video of me getting an elbow drop by one of the performers. It didn't hurt at all. It was pretty cool though. But it was my lifelong dream to hop into a wrestling promotions ring. So next up, we got some of the Under Armour merch. There was 2 sets of Under Armour merch. There was the stuff at the actual basketball game itself, and there was stuff that they had at the booth, like the leftover stuff, which was a little bit more discounted because again they didn't sell out everything, which I wish I would have known that earlier. But we got a Dreamcon athletics training tee. Basically, it's a tank top, like a practice type jersey. Pretty fire, pretty fire. Funny story about this. This is legitimately just a regular old Under Armour performance shirt. The goal with this one would have been to they had a custom decal booth that would have allowed you to put some custom RDC Under Armour logos on it. I just didn't get time to do it. I got that shirt for free because I bought 3 other things from that same Under Armour vendor. So yeah, that's what that was. That's just a regular Under Armour shirt. Here are the training shorts to go with that tank top. Pretty fire, like I said. I may wear this stuff, I may not. Who knows? We'll see. But that's the cool thing about this merch. It's not just collectible stuff. It's also stuff that you can probably rock out either at another RDC event or just in general. If you're going out in the hoop. Here's the official 2025 Dreamcon jersey. Global on the front, number 25 on the back. I love the galaxy aspect of it. Kind of reminds me of Space Jam, obviously. All right, this next shirt. Again, if you guys started getting to know me, some of my favorite hip hop artists are you got Kanye, you got Travis Scott, you got Kendrick Lamar. So I thought these shirts were pretty fire. So obviously you have Travis Scott's Astro World, and this company they basically did a recreation of it with Pokemon. So I thought that was pretty fire. Next up, some of the best merch at the whole event came from Dark Sins. If you know her, she had a pretty cool booth. She did all custom jerseys and athletic gear, anything from the Powerpuff Girls to Dragon Ball Z. I don't have it with me because I bought it from my friend, but one of the best pieces of merch there was the Majin Buu '87 all pink jersey. Literally one of the most fire things ever. If I get a picture from my friend, I'll post it either in this video or on social media. But I think that was the best merch, like best unique merch there overall. Very fire jersey. But what I got from her from Dark Sins booth was these Vegeta, basically basketball shorts. Majin Vegeta. This is definitely custom because it's almost like a halfway between Super Saiyan 2 and a potential Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. Fire shorts. Again, some of this stuff I'll probably rock at some point. Next up, Sailor Moon shirt. I bought 2 of these shirts. My friend has one of them. I forgot what he got, but this came with a specific artwork that we can choose for free. So I'll show you that artwork in a second, but there's a Sailor Moon shirt. Next up is a recreation of, again, that same company that did the Astro World Pokemon shirt. Recreation of Kanye West's album. Dope. This one I probably won't wear. I'll probably just frame up because it is a small. So it might be too tight unless I lose hella weight. But overall, fire shirt. Next up are 2 things that I got from the RDC shop pre-Dreamcon, but they didn't come in time for Dreamcon, so I actually just got them yesterday when I got back. But they're the collegiate. This is the collegiate tie-dye shirt, 2025 Dreamcon. That's the front. Nothing on the back. Still fire. Definitely rocking that right there. Trying to go through this quick because I got a lot of it. Like I think I'm halfway done with all the actual merch itself. Next up is the collegiate hoodie, pullover hoodie. Again, tie dye. Didn't come in time. I would have definitely rocked it at the actual event. Next up is the merch from the actual charity basketball game, the actual vendor there. This one is basically a nylon performance shirt, all white, long sleeve. It says charity basketball game on it. Fire, fire, fire shirt. Next up, we got basically a short sleeve charity basketball hoodie. Gray. Nothing on the back, but definitely something I can rock around the house. Probably see me rocking it during streams, kind of keep warm. But yeah, definitely fire merch. All right, got a few more things here. They kind of fell down now. Keeping the theme with the charity basketball, got a all black fleece pullover. It says Dreamcon Athletics, again made by Under Armour. Material feels solid as hell too, so fire merch. All right, as far as clothing go, I got two more things to kind of show you guys. This one is a poncho from one of the vendors there. Again, I'll try to link the different vendors for different things in the description. But this is basically a Majin Buu Dragon Ball Z poncho. It's big, so I'm gonna back up. Yeah, definitely something I can rock, around the house, probably during the stream, something like that. Definitely fire merch. And the last thing we got for merch overall is going to be the Dreamcon baseball jersey. Probably one of my favorite pieces from the actual official merch, just because it has the actual logo and everything. That's why I'm rocking it right now. But definitely, that was one of the best Dreamcon official merches I had. Like I said, overall, I think the Majin Buu '87 pink jersey from Dark Sin was definitely one of I think, the best things they had there and all of the merch that they physically have there. So yeah. All right, so that's all the clothing, all the drip. We're gonna go into the actual artwork, but before we get to artwork, we're just gonna do. I got one memorabilia piece itself. Got one of the keyblades. I wanted the one that King Mickey had, but obviously that one sold out real quick. So I just got this one, really because it's all black. So it'd be cool with my setup once I get everything set up properly. Yeah, official Keyblade there. The company that made all this stuff, they had basically every weapon known to man from any pop culture franchise. They even had the ray gun from Call of Duty Zombies. The one thing they didn't have, and I said, if y'all get it next year, I'll basically throw my money at y'all. Is a Dark Magician, his scepter that he has in his hand. They also didn't have any lightsabers, which I thought was pretty crazy. Definitely would have liked to see a few lightsabers up there. They had a really cool Stormbreaker out, like the actual hammer from Infinity War that Storm got with Groot. It was $1,100. It was heavy as hell, and also like the metal piece lit up, but it was pretty fire. Maybe next year if it's there, we'll check it out. Maybe get it. But getting into some of the artwork, again, it's a lot of it, so I'm gonna try to speed through some of this stuff, or just the general stuff they have. This one right here is a tumbler slash ice shaker from the company Advance. They make like basically hydration energy powder that you can put in your drinks. So this one was cool. This one's actually purple and has a Dragon Ball Z character etched in it. So you see Frieza there. I also got a second one that was for Majin Buu. Got that for my friend. So he really loves Majin Buu because he's a demon. But yeah. Next up, keeping the theme with the water bottles. This is a tumbler. This is the official Dreamcon one with RDC on it. So definitely fire. I'm not sure I'll drink out of this one because I like to keep stuff like that as like memorabilia. They had a Coca-Cola vendor there. They were the orange cream Coke product that they were serving samples of was pretty good. I normally don't drink soda, but it was pretty good. Next up, you just got a few flyers. One of them was to the Senpai Squad after party. Didn't go to that, but that's that. A little few postcards for some of the creators. I think these are all just generic ones that we got for free just from buying stuff. I know I'm doing it disservice. There you go. Visit Gotham. This was like a little scratch off for one of the. There's a Call of Duty Zombies booth. Had a bunch of Coca-Cola bottles, and then you can enter a raffle to get. They had like this $1,500 ray gun Mark II replica. Another company that had artwork there, which I'll show you what they had. Some more companies. Another company. And another company. Denzel draws. Right here, got a few stickers. Probably put these on a laptop or something. But this one right here is the Boogeyman from Nightmare Before Christmas. Got a miniature version of Egyptian Sato Kaiba. I'll show you a bigger version of that artwork. Got Majin Buu. Got Gojo. Ghostface. These next three things, I always thought it was cool to have cool, unique designs for your credit cards and debit cards, things like that. So that's what I got. I got three of these. Three of these designs for card covers. I got a few credit cards with some basic generic designs, so I'm going to swap those out. I do have one credit card with a cover on it, but it has a Dark Magician on the artwork. These other ones that I'm going to use later, got Obelisk the Tormentor. It's going to be hard to see because this one's holographic. And I got Mew, all matte finish. So definitely cool there. This right here is actually not Dreamcon merch, but it's from the Mission Impossible premiere that RDC hosted. So they had these metal tins. I thought it was pretty cool. Probably won't use it for actual popcorn. That's what was in it before. Probably just use it to hold a bunch of this merch that I have left over. So that's what this is. During DreamCon, I had during DreamCon, I had a friend who had a birthday during that time, so we weren't able to hang out during that. But I did get them some of their favorite stuff. One of their favorite characters from Nintendo and just Smash Bros. In general is Kirby. So the first of the presents for them is a Kirby hat. So I guess I have more drip than I thought. And then three pairs of Kirby socks. I might keep a pair because I do like Kirby myself as well, but I know they love Kirby more than I do. I got, I believe, one more thing, two more things for that person for their birthday. Three more things. So I got the Kirby mouse pad. I mean, this is fire. It's hard to see, but it is all pink for the most part. Next up, I got a Kirby sticker, just like those stickers that we got down there. But I had to separate it because it's going to go into a gift bag for them. And then I got one more thing for them, but it's under all this stuff right here. So I'm going to show you guys in just a second. I'm going to save this specific thing for later, and I'll explain why. Right here is a 18 by 24 inch Seto Kaiba Blue Eyes background. Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon background. I thought it was really cool. A lot of these are custom drawings. This one is legitimately just Seto Kaiba from his Egyptian days. You can't really see it from the camera. I'm trying to zoom in, but you can see basically some of the other Yu-Gi-Oh cards in the background. So it's not just Kaiba and Blue Eyes. They put a lot of attention to detail in the background of the artwork as well. So W artwork there. That same company gave me two more because you can buy two get one free. The last one I don't have. It's of Magneto. It's Malcolm X as Magneto since that is the parallel that they have there. But my friend has that one because Magneto is his favorite X-Men character. I got Rogue here. All right, she was basically the star of X-Men '97, realistically. So fire character, fire design. Boom. All right. Speaking of X-Men, I got a Storm comic book panel where her in the foreground she's colored, and then the background panels are all black and white. Those two shirts that I bought, the Sailor Moon and the one I got for my friend, the ones I said I got the free artwork for. This is it. This is Future Trunks. Again, he himself is highlighted, and then the manga panels behind him are all black and white. I may color those at some point with some custom colors. It just depends if I have time. But yeah, fire. All right, this artwork sleeve has two things in it, so I'll start with the front. There was one of the artists there. She made these by hand using watercolors. This is a specific painting of the Avatar, the Last Airbender characters. You got some of them in the foreground, and if you look very carefully, you'll have some of them in the background as well. I believe Aang is somewhere back here. I thought it was pretty cool that she did all these hand painted. And then on the back, in one of the premium lounges, we had a character artist do some designs for us. So this is the one that he did of me. I had a headband on. I wanted him to have me kind of looking up at the sky because I was going to put like the Glow Boy Dreamcon logo up there in the right hand corner. But overall, did a pretty solid job. It only took him like 10 minutes too, so he was getting us in and out of there quick. So W artist. Next up is that last piece of the present for my friend who I missed her birthday because I was at Dreamcon itself. Their favorite anime is JJK, so I got them this artwork. This is probably one of the highest quality artworks they have there. Not this specific one, but like this company that had it. Like they have put it on the canvas. The material's good. The colors are dynamic. They pop out. So overall, pretty solid artwork. I wish I could keep it, but like I said, I'm gonna give it as a present since I missed a birthday. Next up is just a free poster I got. It's a God of War poster from one of the companies. Not bad. I haven't played all the God of War games yet, so I'll knock those out as soon as I can. The next three things before I get into the more important thing, they're all like long tapestries. So basically, they're all taller than me. So I'm gonna have to stand back and roll these up, or unroll these bad boys. So yeah, this first one is it's a black and white uh, depiction of Vegeta. And now that I'm unrolling it, it is in fact taller than me. I'm 6'1", so this is definitely a tall one. I gotta figure out a proper place to hang this. Get like a special stand made for it so it hangs up probably in the background of the streams. But yeah. And the last two I got. All right, so the first one of the last two I got is this Storm. Obviously, she's a black queen. Gotta represent. Looks fierce. The weather goddess. Omega level mutant. Had to get that. And this one's not as tall as the Vegeta one, but I definitely like I had to get the bigger one. So I'll probably find a spot for all of these to hang up in my apartment somewhere. Cool. All right, funny story about this last one. This is a same thing as the Storm one. It's basically a tapestry of Dark Magician Girl. The creator, he was like, "Yeah, man, like I'm working on a not safe for work version of it." And he showed me. I was like, I mean, it looked good, but I was like, it was too much. Basically, I'm not going to describe it. If you were there, you know what I'm talking about. But this is Dark Magician Girl. You can venture that this is still kind of showing too much, but at least it's not TOS. But yeah, same thing. It's not. Well, it's actually probably just as tall as me. Now that I'm looking at it. But yeah, Dark Magician Girl. All right. So last few things I got right here, and I'll explain why I'm showing them last. First up is the premium badge, what it looks like itself. Had a pretty cool design on it. The artist, they finally posted who the artist was that did some of the DreamCon official artwork. and this is one of the hardest ones that they have. But that's just what the badge looks like. Nothing too important there. Here's the programming guide or the souvenir booklet. This basically had everything that we needed. That's the front. Again, that same artwork that's on the badge is on the front of the actual booklet. On the back, you got Team Duke versus Team Mark, W artwork promotion. I love how they have the different classes of creators in here. W programming guide, like it makes sense. You're able to get people to sign it, but I don't think anybody had enough time for people to sign these. So if you got them, cool. But that's something that we'll keep. And then last but not least, all right. It was funny because I passed up. I was gonna get the RDC comic regardless, the Imagine That comic, which is right here. But then they were like, at the opening ceremony, they said there's there's 500 copies total. I don't know if that's true or not. If they're just playing us, but they said it's 500 copies total. So I'm thinking like, okay, I missed it the first day. I'm already screwed. I'm sure those things sold out like hotcakes. But then we go back the next day to the exhibit hall. We go find the booth that has the comics, and lo and behold, there was like 100 left. So me and my friend, we got them. But we were trying to keep checking back in to see when either Mark or anybody from RDC would be available to sign the comic book, because the comic book itself is cool, but when they'll be able to sign it, so we can obviously make it official, right? So we missed him like every time. Every time they said he would probably be there, he was there. We just missed him at that time, thinking like, okay, they're not gonna be there really. And they were only there for like maybe 10, 15 minutes. So we missed them every time we had the chance to get there. But we did get the signature, and I'll kind of talk about it in just a second. But we did get the signature for the artist himself. It's right here on this sleeve. That's the artist. All right. And down here it says, this is not the final. This is literally just a preview of the full comic. So they send us an email. So basically we just have to figure out when they're gonna actually send us a full copy. I'm not sure if it's gonna be hardback or not. Probably won't be because we didn't pay that much for it. But that'll be fire. But then at the closing ceremony, after the gatekeep thing was done and they kind of announced the Dreamcon, everybody was kind of gathering around the stage itself to kind of like, take pictures of all the creators that were on stage. But we went to where the side of the stage where where everybody was entering, so the space of the steps. So we didn't go inside, we didn't go backstage, which we didn't want to violate their privacy, but we stood right there, so we were the first person that they saw. So as soon as they started exiting, I held up the 2 comic books that I bought from me and my friend. I said, "Hey, Mark," I had a dinky old black pen. I said, "Hey, Mark, can you sign our comic books?" He said, "Oh yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure." It took him a minute because he didn't want to just come down and sign them, because we got as soon as he looked at us and he said, "Oh yeah, for sure," we got bum rushed by the rest, everybody basically there that was at the event. So he goes back, grabs the security and everything like that. He says, "Hey, where's the guy who needs the comic book signed?" I said, "All right, right here, bet." So he went back, he signed them. You can barely see it because, again, all we had was a black pen. There's not a lot of white space on the actual comic book itself, but right there, it's like the M. That's Mark signing. And I got a video of it if you don't believe me, but I got a video of him dapping us up and returning the comic books to us. So I'll post that on social media as well. But that was definitely probably the highlight outside of some of the other stuff. Was him actually taking time out to get that comic book signed, because we missed them every time at the actual booth itself. So W event overall. So like I said, that was the review of DreamCon 2025. This was the merch haul, showing the drip, some of the artwork that we'll be hanging up. It was a lot. Like I said, I'm not sure the total amount that I spent on a lot of it. Some of the stuff was free, so it was, it kind of evened out, I guess. But future plans, obviously, I'll be streaming more. I'll be kind of showing more videos. This is my first video officially, so I'm gonna let it be raw like this, just straight. I'm probably gonna edit a little bit of it, cutting out some of the downtime. But overall, W experience definitely inspired me to kind of keep the content going, streaming on Twitch, streaming on everything. I'll eventually have all my social medias all set up so where you guys can keep up to date with everything like that and post some of the content that we'll have. But overall, it should be a pretty good experience. So I appreciate you guys rocking with me. Have a good one. Peace.